Quick math lesson. So we want to convert recurring decimals to fractions. However, we don't really know how to do that yet. However, we do know how to convert a terminating decimal like 0.25 into a fraction. One way to do that is simply just to look at the last place value, understand what last digit, and look at the place value. We know that this is in hundreds. And so simply, this is 25, which is this number right here, over 100, because we know that's the place value of the last digit. Great. Another way to do this, of course, is also 0.25. We know we can put a denominator of 1 and it will still remain the same. We know that if we multiply both sides by the same number, we'll come up with an equivalent fraction. And so in this case, we'll get, by multiplying 0.25 by 100, we'll get 25, because we'll move the decimal point twice, and we'll also get 100 at the bottom. And so this is 25 over 100, which can be simplified as 1 over 4. Okay, now, that's well and good. However, think about recurring decimals. Here's one, just for us to look at. 0.333 recurring, okay? Another one to write this is, of course, just 0.3 with the dot at the top to imply that it's recurring. Here, we meet our problem. We can't get to the last digit. If the last digit doesn't actually, we'll just keep going on forever. And so we can't just simply identify that and go put that number on the bottom. We can't also multiply both sides by the same number because there's no real power of 10 we can ever get to infinity. So we had to actually come up with a different strategy here. So what we'll do is, we'll go let x, and we're just basically assigning x to be 0.333 recurring, okay? And what's going to be interesting here is, what happens if I multiply this thing by 10? Just multiply 0.333 recurring by 10. Well, we know that if we multiply something by 10, we can move this decimal point across. So let's try that. We'll go 10x, which is multiplying the x by 10. Which is 3.333 recurring. Notice that this 3.333 recurring has the same decimal value as the other x, right? So in this case, we could actually do an interesting thing here. We'll go 10x, and we'll subtract the other x from it. Well, here we have 3.333 recurring minus the 0.333 recurring, which means that the 333 recurring will cancel out, and the only thing that I'll have left is this number 3 over here. So here, I'm going to get 3, and that's it. 10x minus 1x is just, 10 lots of x minus 1 lot of x, which is 9x. So this means it's 9x is equal to 3. Some simple algebra here. We're just going to divide both sides by 9 because we can divide the 9 here. Dividing both sides by 9, we get x is equal to 3 over 9, which of course can be simplified as 1 over 3. And there we go. We've actually now converted a recurring decimal into a fraction. We'll try another one. Let's see what happens when we have one a little bit more interesting. Here we have 0.252525, and of course that comes recurring. Okay, we have to let x equal this, of course. This time we have a problem. If I try to multiply this thing by 10, we move this decimal point one side across, we're going to get 2.525252, which is actually different to the original decimal, which is 0.252525. So we're actually not going to be able to multiply by 10 here to get a creative solution. However, if I multiply by another 10, or I guess multiply this whole thing by 100, I now get something a little interesting here. So this is 100x. Let's multiply by 100, move the decimal point twice. I'm going to get 25.252525 recurring. And here, this is great because my decimal value is the same as my decimal value over here, which allows me to minus or subtract from each other. So 100x minus x allows me to get this value, or allows me to get cancelled at the decimal. And the only thing that I have left, of course, is 25. Okay, now 100x minus x is going to be 99x because there's 99 lots of x, 25. If we just do a simple algebraic thing, divide both sides by 99, where x is equal to 25 over 99. Now, that's a really cool way of being able to convert a recurring decimal to a fraction. Here's what I'm going to give you to do. I'll go 0.353535, and I would like you to convert this to a fraction. That's your challenge. Post it on the comments if you get it. Okay?